Hi all. So in today's session, we are going to discuss on scheduling agreement with release documentation. So as you all know, there are two types of scheduling agreement process. One is with release documentation and one more is without release documentation. So for both, there are different types of document types which we use. So today what we are going to discuss is with release documentation. And for with release documentation, we have two types of release. So this scheduling agreement with release documentation is commonly it is used in few of the industries where you have daily requirements or medium term requirements. So based on that, this forecast schedule and media just-in-time schedule is set up. So this we will see it in the system. So before that, we will understand what this forecast schedule and just-in-time schedule is. So basically, forecast schedule is nothing but suppose we are buying something from the vendor. For example, imagine a car manufacturing industry. Okay. So on daily requirement or on a medium term requirement, we have certain materials which we procure from vendor. So that we need on a regular basis. So it depends on the schedule of the requirement what we have. So if it is a medium term requirement, so we term it as forecast schedule. So in the near future, whatever the requirement here we have, so based on that, we set up the delivery schedules, and this requirement which is there, it goes to the vendor. So medium term requirement may be in weekly wise or maybe in monthly wise. So in the near future, whatever the requirements are there based on the previously whatever was ordered, based on the previous forecast. So based on that sales data, previous forecast what we have, based on that, we set up a forecast schedule for medium term and medium term requirement what we have. But when it comes to just-in-time schedule, just-in-time, as the name suggests, this is something where we inform the vendor that we need it in the near future. That is nothing but it may be on daily basis or hourly basis, which is completely in the near future. Like on this day at this hour, we need this much material. Okay, this much of raw material or finished product or semi-finished product to manufacture our, whatever the daily requirement is. So that is broken down. The delivery schedules are broken down into hourly or daily requirement, something which we need in time, like in the near future what we need. So these are the two types of schedules which you have. So this, when we create a scheduling agreement with release documentation, so these are the two types of delivery schedules which we can assign, and automatically or manually we can release this kind of schedules which we have to the vendor. So that is based on the setup which we have maintained. So first of all, let's see the system configuration which we need. What is the backend configuration as a consultant, what we have to set up in order to successfully run this forecast and just-in-time schedule. So first, let's see what is the document. As I told you, there are two types of scheduling agreement. Without release, we have one type of document type, and with release, we have one more type of document type. Okay, so first let's go to the system and see the system configuration which is required. So I will just take you to the system now. So now we have understood what forecast and just-in-time schedule is. So now we will go to the system, and first let me go to the first requirement that we have, that is the document type. So usually this document type which I'm saying, this LPA, so usually this is standard and it will be already set up in the system. Okay, so LPA document type, and where we can see that is we have to go to SPRO. From SPRO, we go to material management, and material management purchasing. In purchasing, we have scheduling agreement. So in scheduling agreement, we can see define document type. So here we already have the document type LPA, which we can see scheduling agreement with release documentation. So this document type we use for our scheduling agreement when we create a scheduling agreement for JIT and forecast schedules. Okay, so LPA is the document type, and we have all the number range and internal and external number range, everything maintained. Everything is already set up. So usually in standard SAP only we have LP and LPA as the document type. So if you want, we can customize and create our own document type and maintain all the field selection on and all the other number range settings which we want. But I will take here the standard LPA document type which SAP has provided. So we will use this document type and we will create our scheduling agreement with release documentation. So this is the first setting which we need. And the next one is something called as creation profile. So this creation profile is always at plant level. So we assign this creation profile. First, we create this creation profile for each plant. So for which plant we are planning to run this just-in-time and forecast schedule, right? For which plant, if suppose there is a plant where we have to do this, where we need the materials on daily or an hourly or monthly or an weekly basis, right? Which I've told, which will be nothing but forecast or just-in-time. So this happens at valuation area, at the plant level it happens. So we have to create a creation profile. Based on that, all this just-in-time and forecast schedule aggregations we will do. So we will go to that. So before that, where do we maintain this creation profile? How do we create this creation profile? That is here in scheduling agreement itself. Once the document types are created, you have an option under scheduling agreement saying maintain release creation profile for scheduling agreement with release documentation. Okay, so the next setting what we have is release creation profile that we have to create. So this is the SPRO path, scheduling agreement, maintain release creation profile for scheduling agreement with release documentation. So here we have to go to the setting, same SPRO node it is, under purchasing, scheduling agreement, and maintain release creation profile for scheduling agreement with release documentation. So here if you go, we have plant creation profile. So I have my plant 1710 is my plant which I'm taking. And if I click on this, you can see that there are multiple creation profiles which are maintained. Okay, so the descriptions that depends on what we want to maintain, how much days of just-in-time and forecast schedule we give. Here, I've already created a creation profile. So we'll just go inside this. S001 is the creation profile. If you want to create a new creation profile, you just have to go to new entries. So I'll show you all the backend settings which are maintained in this creation profile. So just go to my plant, go to the creation profile and just go on details. So here we can see the creation profile which we have, just-in-time delivery schedule and forecast delivery schedule. So here the main, this what we have is the tab which we have is the aggregation horizon. So here we maintain just-in-time delivery schedule and forecast delivery schedule. So this creation profile which we maintain here, as you can see, we have no aggregation, daily aggregation. So what are all these terms and these dates which we maintain, days which we maintain, weekly aggregation or monthly aggregation. So this one we will understand in clearly when we create a scheduling agreement, and then when I run this just-in-time schedule and forecast schedule, that time you will have a better picture on this. So here is the backend setting, we maintain the days. So that depends on the business, complete the business, what they want, how they want to maintain this daily aggregation, in how many days they want to maintain, in weekly aggregation, how many days they want to maintain, or monthly aggregation. So whatever the settings we maintain here, it purely depends on the business, what they want to maintain. Okay. So here we maintain the creation profile. So once the creation profile is maintained and the document type and the creation profile both are maintained, your system configuration is that much. Then number range or all the standard settings which we have based on the document type. So these are the two system configuration settings which we need. And then comes the prerequisite. Prerequisite is the master data settings what we need. So now I'll just create a material, and the main prerequisite what we have when we create a material is for which we run this just-in-time and forecast schedule is the just-in-time schedule indicator. So this indicator in the purchasing view of material has to be checked. It has to be automatic. So if it is blank, then you won't be able to run this. You won't be able to create a scheduling agreement with release documentation for just-in-time and forecast schedule. You won't be able to plan this for this material if this has to be checked. And then whatever the release creation profile we created, we have to assign it to the vendor master. Okay, so the vendor master in the sense here in the business partner here, we are seeing it in the S4 HANA system. In S4 HANA system, we have something called business partner. So all the vendor and the material vendor master, whatever we have, we maintain it in the business partner. Okay, so now let me go to the system and I will show you. I'll just create one material. You go to the material type. So I'll create a raw material for which we will run this just-in-time and forecast schedule. Okay, basic data 1, basic data 2. purchasing view, and accounting view. So here I'll go to my plant 1710 and my storage location. Here, this is the material. So I will take one raw material and I will just give a description just for our understanding purpose. I'll just give as material. Okay, JIT and FRC material, and basic unit of measurement EA, and a material group. And here under the purchasing view, the main prerequisite which we have is something called as just-in-time schedule indicator. Okay, this indicator has to be automatic. Only then, this is one of the prerequisite, only then you will be able to run your just-in-time and forecast schedule. So make sure for your material which you're creating, you have this just-in-time schedule indicator switched on. Okay, it is automatic. Then everything is the normal setting. Here we maintain the valuation class, you maintain the price. Okay, any one of the price you maintain and save it. So now I have created a material. Let me copy this material and this is the material I've created, and I have assigned this. I have checked automatic delivery schedule indicator. Okay, the next step is assign release creation profile and business partner. Okay, so now let me go to the transaction BP. So in this transaction, let me create one business partner. Okay, so here let me take one BP grouping. Okay, take one vendor, minute. Okay, this also I can just give as vendor. Okay, just in time and forecast vendor, I'll just take it as that, and let me give all the mandatory settings. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so it's done. Okay. Save. Okay, enter the external customer number. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me take any other count group. Okay. So here it's saying external customer number. So I think it is externally maintained. So let me take one account group which we already have. Give me a minute. I'll just take this business partner. Okay. 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 BP01 only is taken. Okay, so let's do one thing. I'll take this business partner. So let me go to BP. So we already have a business partner. So if I have to search using the business partner, I have to come here and just give the number. So I'll just give this business partner. So we already have one business partner maintained. So here, how we assign the creation profile? We have already a business partner maintained. And then we have to go to the purchasing view of this business partner. That is FLVN01. Go to this BP role. And here, first make sure that under this FLVN01 supplier, go to vendor general data. So here, make sure that this check, plant relevant check is checked. Once this plant relevant is checked, we have to go to the purchasing view. So I'm just showing you here this step. Okay, how do we assign this release creation profile in business partner? So what you have to do, once you create the business partner and you create the purchasing view of the business partner, we have to go to, in the general data, we have to go to vendor general data, and we have to make sure that this plant relevant check is checked, and then go to the purchasing view. And here we have additional purchasing data. Okay, so here in additional purchasing data, we have to create this plant. We have to assign this plant in the additional purchasing data. How do we do that? Come here, and we have this check mark. So if I go to change mode, here you will be able to see now in the purchasing view, I'll go here and go to create. Okay, and I give my plant 1710 and check this and go here. Okay, and then give me a minute. Okay, go up. Second. So let me do one thing. We already have this. Let me go and I'll show you how to assign. Delete this. Okay. Now come and create a new one. Q1710. Enter. Select this. Come down. So once you select, create this 1710, just drag it down, go to purchasing data and select OK. Okay, now you can see that you have this line item here in the additional purchasing data 1710. Go here and then again come down and go to display. Okay, here you can now see all the additional purchasing data. Here you will be able to see the release creation profile. Okay, here we have to assign the release creation profile which we have created already. Okay, in the business partner, here in the creation profile we have to assign S001. Okay, which I showed you already. It is maintained for 1710 plant. Here we have to assign the release creation profile and save it. Okay, and save it. Now the changes are saved. Now I've assigned the release creation profile of S001 to the business partner. Okay, to the BP business partner, I've assigned the release creation profile. But okay, now to see this business partner might have a different vendor number, right? So that also we can see now. So this business partner might not have the same vendor number. So in order to make sure this business partner and vendor number are same, or if it is different, so I'll just copy this and I can see it here. Come up, go to the general data. Here, if I go to the vendor general data, here I can see the vendor number. So you can see that the business partner number and vendor number are not same in this case, but we can maintain it as same. Usually in SAP also recommends you maintain it as same. So for that we have something called as vendor VP integration. So there we have one same checkbox where we can have this business partner and vendor number same. For now, this is a different number, so we have to copy this number also, because we are using this number to create our scheduling agreement. Okay, vendor number, not the business partner number. So let's take this off, give the vendor number. So this is the vendor number and this is the creation profile we have. Okay, so once this is clear, we have met this prerequisites, 2 prerequisites, and one more is when we create a scheduling agreement, we have to make sure that this just-in-time schedule indicator and this creation profile are fetched in the additional data during scheduling agreement creation. So when I mean this, I will show you how it is done. So now, once the prerequisites are met, we will go to ME31L. We know the transaction ME31L is the transaction to create the scheduling agreement, ME31L. So here, as I told you, for scheduling agreement with release documentation, the document type is LPA. So you have to select LPA as the document type and the vendor with whom we are going to have this scheduling agreement. Okay, this agreement which we are going to have with this vendor and this material. So I'll take that vendor, and LPA is my document type, and plant is 1710, and my purchase org and purchase group, I can give my purchase group and press enter. So now I have to give my validity period. So I will have this scheduling agreement for a validity period of 1 year, starting from today, 12th March to 1 year. Okay, then enter. Then I have to enter the material. Okay, I have to enter the material here with whom, for which I want to have maintain this just-in-time and FRC schedule. I want to make this delivery schedule for this material under the plant 1710. 1710 is the plant. So I will copy this material. So once I copy this material, and it will ask me for the target quantity. So what is the target quantity? So how much number of quantity of this material you require to be supplied by the vendor for this particular period of time, starting from today to 1 year, how much you want to supply, how much the vendor has to supply. So I will take target quantity of 1000 for now. Okay, 1000 and a price at 10 rupees, this material. Okay, target quantity of 1000 at a price of 10 rupees. So now what I'm doing, I'm creating a scheduling agreement with the release documentation of agreement type LPA and an agreement between this vendor and this material to supply 1000 quantity of material. Okay, so once I do this, I will save it. Right. So now you can see that scheduling agreement with release documentation has been created. So you can just copy and paste it here. So as I told you, the third prerequisite which we had to check is make sure that in the additional data, this has been fetched. So I didn't check it before. For now, I can even check it now. I can just take this scheduling agreement and go to ME32L, same one, change. And here I can just go to the additional data tab. Okay, here you have additional data. So once I go to additional data, come down here, make sure your creation profile and just-in-time indicator has been fetched. So this is basically fetched from your vendor master and your material master. Okay, so make sure this is fetched and then save it. So next, once you create, so now all the three prerequisites are met. So once the three prerequisites are met, next step is you have to create scheduling agreement. Once the scheduling agreement with release documentation is created, now we have to maintain the scheduling agreement delivery schedule. Okay, now an agreement is created between the vendor and the material for a target quantity of 1000. Now we have to maintain the delivery schedule. So here comes our FIT and FRC and forecast and JIT schedules, how we maintain. First, now this is the requirement. So imagine this is the requirement of the business. So in 3 days you need 50, in 3 days 50 you need at 10 at a time of 10, and in the same 3 days, coming 3 days, we have 50 at 14. So this is how it is maintained. So imagine this is the requirement of the business, and how do you go on and maintain it for JIT and forecast schedule. So we'll see that now. So first we have to maintain the delivery schedules. For that, T code is go to /in ME38. So once you go to ME38, here we have to give the scheduling agreement number. Once scheduling agreement number you give, you have all the data which are copied. You have the material, you have the vendor, scheduling agreement number, LPA and everything, target quantity of 1000, open target quantity of 1000 we have for this material, for this plant. Now you take this and go to delivery schedule. So here now we have to maintain the delivery schedule based on the business requirement. Whatever the business requirement is, how much they need at what particular date and what particular time, how much they need, how much quantity they need, we have to maintain. Okay, in first 3 days, first let's maintain this now slowly. So we'll see the calendar and we'll see how in first 3 days, in 3 days means delivery date in work days. Work days means we are not considering the weekends here. So in 3 days means, so this would be day format and delivery date would be in 3 days means, so just see this, today's date is 12th, so that is Saturday. So we are not considering today and tomorrow. So in 3 days means it would be 14, 15, 16, right? So we are not considering this in 3 days. That is in 3 working days, means starting from 14, 15, 16. So that would be Wednesday. 1, 2, 3 in 3 days. So 16th, how much is it scheduled? 50. We're scheduling 50 at a time of 10 IST or CST or whatever the time which is maintained in the system based on that. So 50. Okay. So the next one is again in 3 days, 50, but at 14. So that would be D, day, and it would be again same day, 50, but at 14 hours. And the next one is in 6 days. So 6 days means starting from 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're not considering Saturday, Sunday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 Monday, right? So it would be 21. 21 we would need 100. Seeing the system, we need 100 on 10th. Okay. Then again in next 12 days, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That is on 29th. 29th we would require 200. 29th, and in 12 days we would require 214. And again we have 12 days. In 12 days, that is on 29th March only, we would require again 200, but at 10. Okay. And then comes the last one, last delivery schedule in 15 days. So that would be in 15 days means starting from 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That would be April 1st, correct? 15. April 1st, we would require 400 at 10. Okay, so just press enter. So now we can see that we have maintained the delivery schedules at this particular time and on this particular days. So now we can see we have met the cumulative total of 1000. So the target quantity is also 1000. So we can either maintain more less than this, or we can maintain equal to this. So our scheduling agreement is for 1000. So 1000 we have maintained for these particular days. This is just an example which I'm giving. Okay. So if you have to expand, exceed more than this, again, you can change the quantity in the scheduling agreement and then you can maintain it. So this, for this in 15 days, these are the schedules which are maintained and this much quantity we need at this particular time. So once I maintain this delivery schedule, I will save this. Okay. Now we can see that scheduling agreement is saved. Now what I've done, I've created a scheduling agreement with release documentation for a particular material and vendor. And then I've maintained the scheduling agreement based on the requirement. So this I've maintained. Now we'll see how to generate the forecast schedule and just-in-time schedule. So as I told you in the before, what forecast schedule is, it is based on the medium-term requirement, or it might be on monthly basis or weekly basis. Just-in-time means it is immediately based on hourly or on a daily basis. So whatever the delivery schedule is maintained. So when we run this forecast schedule and just-in-time schedule, we will see that how the system automatically, it will allocate the quantities based on this forecast schedule and just-in-time schedule based on the creation profile we maintained. So when I mean creation profile, we saw that aggregations and settings which were maintained in the creation profile, right? So we will see that now. So if I go to this same scheduling agreement document, press enter and go to delivery schedule again, you see this which is already maintained. So the next step which we have to do is, first we will run the forecast schedule. So how do we run the forecast schedule? All the prerequisites, configurations, everything is maintained. We have created a scheduling agreement and we have maintained the delivery schedule. Now I'll run the forecast schedule. That is from a medium-term requirement, maybe a weekly or a monthly basis, right? Forecast schedule, FRC schedule, how do I run? Go to this and you can see here, go to more and you have an option called edit. And here you have something called as generate forecast schedule. Okay. So before that, if you go to scheduling release documentation, here you can see there is something called just-in-time schedule and forecast schedule. So this is just because of the screen layout. Okay. Just-in-time schedule is this box. Forecast schedule is this box. You can see that there is no release, nothing, no number, nothing. And here you will be able to see all the material and everything. creation profile, here you'll be able to see the creation profile. So see this now. Here in the creation profile, you can see that the creation profile S001 has been fetched. So this where we have maintained, we have seen that in the vendor master we maintained and it flowed to the scheduling agreement. Now here in the creation profile, we can see these are all the settings which we maintained in the backend. Right? If we go to aggregation horizon, here we can see now we will get to know how this, why this is important. No aggregation for first 4 days, daily aggregation for 15 days, and weekly aggregation for 60 days. As I told you that just in time is based on your daily or an hourly requirement, right? So you can see that there is no weekly aggregation and monthly aggregation here. Weekly and monthly aggregation is for your forecast schedule. Okay. So now if you can see, there is no release number here. So now once I come to the screen and go to edit and go to generate forecast schedule. Now you can see that forecast schedule release generated against scheduling agreement, right? Now, if you go to SA release documentation, here you can see that for forecast schedule, you can see that a release number has been generated. So what you have to do, just go here and go to schedule lines release. So we can see now on how the system has allocated automatically on weekly basis. Okay. So now we will see how this works. Okay. Now I'll go to one more screen and I will explain you on how this allocation has been done when we generated forecast schedule. Okay. So now if I go here and go to delivery schedule and I'll keep it in the small screen. Okay. Now you can see here. Okay. Now see this. See, you can understand this easily now. See, on 16th, that means in first 3 days, 16th, we have scheduled 50 quantity, right? So forecast schedule, as I told you, it is on weekly aggregation. So weekly aggregation of how many? Here, if I go to creation profile, here if I see a weekly aggregation up to 60 days and monthly aggregation up to 120 days. So here we would only consider the weekly aggregation now up to 60 days. You're telling the system that do a weekly aggregation. So whatever is there in that week, aggregate that and then send it to the vendor, saying that in this week, I need this much quantity of material. Okay. So when I generated forecast schedule, weekly aggregation of 60 days. Okay. So 60 days means if I close this, now I go to release number here, forecast schedule, and go to schedule lines. You can see week 11, you have 100 quantities. So how to understand this easily is here you can see 16th March. So 16th March will fall under which week? You can see 16th March is here. 16th March is in the next week. So next week is nothing but week 11. So on week 11, we have 16. So how much quantity we need from the supplier on the week 11th? It is on 16th, how much we have? In week 11th, we have only 16th scheduled, right? 16th, we have 50 plus 50. So this 50 plus 50 that we need on 16th has been aggregated on the 11th week. As you can see here, on the 11th week, we have 50 plus 50. That is nothing but 100. Okay. It has been aggregated on weekly basis. Now you can see the next week one. So the next week one, now you have understood this. If you see the next one, it will be more clear. So on 21st, you have 100. And then it is on 29th. 29th, we have 2, but 21st, we'll see which comes under which week. 21st will come under 12th week. So on 12th week and 29th comes under the next one. 29th comes under the 13th week. So on 12th week, we have only 100 that has to be delivered. As you can see, so it is 12th week, we have 100. Why 100? Here in the 12th week, we have only 100 to be 100 scheduled, right? So this 21st March falls in the 12th week. So we have 100 quantity scheduled. Whereas if you see on the 29th March, we have 2, one at 10 a.m. and 2 at 14, right? That we have 200 plus 200. And you can see on 1st, we have 400. So here you can see on the 13th week, it is 800. Why? Because your 29th and your 29 and 1st April all falls under the 13th week. So I hope it's clear now. 13th week. 29th, we have 200 plus 200 plus April 1st. Your April 1st also comes in the 13th week. So you have 200 plus 200 plus 400. That would be equal to 200 plus 200 plus 400 would be equal to 800. So this is how your weekly aggregation is done when we generate the forecast schedule. As you can see, it has been aggregated on the weekly basis. So once this is clear, we'll see how just-in-time aggregation is done. How we generate the just-in-time. We can see now that the forecast schedule is generated, a release number is generated. Now you will see just-in-time. So this is also similar, but it is on the just-in-time means on the daily basis it will be scheduled. So now again you have to come to the screen. Let's come to the screen, go to edit, go to generate just-in-time schedule. Now you can see that just-in-time schedule has been generated. So all this will work only when the prerequisites are met. Okay, remember that you have to have that settings and prerequisites, everything maintained in the material master, vendor master, and everything has to be fetched correctly. Only then you will be able to do this forecast and just-in-time release. Now I've done the just-in-time release. I've generated the just-in-time release. So after generating, I will go to this icon, scheduling agreement with release documentation. Here you can see under the just-in-time release, you can see the release number. Go here and go to, and now before that, we'll see the creation profile for just-in-time release, how it is maintained, how the aggregation horizon is maintained. And here we can see that no aggregation for first 4 days. So what does this mean? I'll just take a screenshot of this. See this, we have no aggregation for first 4 days and daily aggregation for first next 15 days. First 4 days means from the date. From the date, if I go here, if I close this, now I have generated the just-in-time release and go to scheduling lines. And here you can see now it has been aggregated on daily basis. Okay. And now, if you see this, how this has been scheduled is, now again, I'll go here to see this now. So it has been saying that first 4 days, don't do any aggregation. Okay. First 4 days, keep as it is. No aggregation has to be done. So first 4 days means starting from today's date. First 4 days means starting from today's date when the agreement date, don't consider this your weekends, consider the weekdays. That would be first 4 days would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So first 4 days, if there is any aggregation, don't consider that. No aggregation has to be done for first 4 days. It has to be as it is. That means your 16th will fall under the first 4 days, correct? So 16th, how much we have? On 16th, we have 50-50. So your 16th 50-50 is kept like that only at 10 and at 14. As you can see, there will be no aggregation for first 4 days. Then after that, on the 5th day till the 15th day, to the daily aggregation. That is the just-in-time release. From the 5th day to the 15th day, do the daily aggregation. That means from the 5th day means first 4 day till 17th it's not there. From the 5th day will be 18. 5th day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, sorry. Don't consider the weekend. It would be first 4 day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. First 15 days to the daily aggregation. That means now whatever we have on 21st, it is 100. Only one we have on 21st. It has been aggregated. But on 29th, if you see, we have 2. We have on 29th, 200, 200. So daily aggregate. It comes under the first 15 days. Aggregate this on a daily basis. At what time, how much we have, aggregate this. 200, 200, that would be 400. Okay. And then again, as I told you, first 15 days. So April 1st also comes in the first 15 days, right? After 4th day, 5th, 6th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. April 1st, 15th also comes under the daily aggregation. Up to 15 days, right? Up to 15 days. First 4 days, there is no aggregation. From the 5th day till up to 15 days, there should be daily aggregation. So now April 1st also comes in the first 15 days. So in April 1st, we have only 400. If you have more than 400, it should have been aggregated. It is only 400. So 400 is here. Okay. And 29th, we have it's been aggregated. 200 plus 200, and the first 4 days there is no aggregation, so it is 50-50, just left like that. So this is about just in time. How when the just in time is generated, how on daily basis how aggregation is done. And we have no aggregations also. First 4 days there is no aggregation, so it is the system doesn't consider any aggregation to be done. Then after the 5th day till the up to 15 days there will be aggregations done. And forecast is up to 60 days weekly aggregation. Do a weekly aggregation up to 60 days. We saw that how weekly aggregation done. In that week, how much we have, that gets aggregated and will go to the vendor. And whereas in daily, it is just in time daily. We saw that first 4 days there is no aggregation. Then we saw that if there is any daily requirement, it gets aggregated up to 15 days. So April 1st falls under the 15th day. No considering the weekends, only the weekdays. Here only the weekdays, work days are considered. So based on that, up to 15 days, your system aggregates this. So this is about your just-in-time and forecast schedule. So once this is done, so then it's the same. The same process is same, the P2P cycle. Once the scheduling lines are done, you, based on your schedule, delivery schedules, whatever the delivery schedules you have, based on that, we do the GR. We receive it and we do the GR based on the forecast and the delivery schedule. Okay, so once that is done, then we pay the vendor the invoice. So this is about your scheduling agreement with release documentation. Okay, I hope it is all clear. So this is all what we need to set up the scheduling agreement with forecast and just-in-time release. Your system configuration, what we need in the backend, your prerequisite, and what are the steps that are done, and what are the, based on the business requirement, how we can generate the just-in-time and just-in-time release and forecast release. Okay, I hope it is all clear.